They say that our greatest fear is dying, and our second greatest fear is public speaking. And our third greatest fear is dying while public speaking. And if you ever have to get in front of a crowd and present, and especially talk about your organization, you represent your organization somehow, or you speak about a project that's important to you, this Leadership Lunch and Learn Connection and Convo recap is for you. We are talking about how to turn your mess into a message. Now, what do I mean by that? That means in your life, you have episodes, you have events and turning points in your life that are not your high points. They were not your favorite times of life. There are times in your life where you suffered setbacks, losses, embarrassment, shame, disappointment, whatever it was. And those stories we bury, but there's a lot of treasure buried in those stories. And all the way up to this moment, if you ever have to present and talk about something that's important to you, like your project or your organization or your church or your ministry or whatever it might be, I want to invite you to mine your personal stories as though they are the gold mines that they are, because they are, to see even your painful stories as really places where treasure lies, buried because they're so painful to remember. But when we explore our stories, we will often discover that that is why we're doing what we're doing now, and we didn't really fully realize it. We knew our heart was in what we're doing now, but we didn't realize how some of these early moments in life or earlier moments in life led us to where we are. So we're going to share with you how to connect your personal story to your mission story and what's in it for you if you do that. Well, it's just good for your mental health to exercise your memory and to go back into some of the events of your life. You can do this in journaling. You can do this in just conversation. Um, I can tell you from our loved one who has memory loss that when you lose your memory, you lose a lot. And so don't lose your memory before you have lost your memory. Let's access what's there because it's part of your message. And what's in it for you is that if you can tie your personal story to the reason why you work where you work, the reason why the place you work exists, then you're going to have a more powerful heart to heart connection with an audience when you share. Or even if you're talking just with friends around a dinner table and they ask you what you're doing and you begin to share about your project or your business that has a heartbeat to it, it's going to be easier because you're connecting it. You might say something like, when I was a kid, I had this experience. And so it tickles me to be working in a setting like I am now because it just feels like I've gone full circle. Now, some of you have to sell and you're presenting or pitching things for your company, or perhaps you're a fundraiser when it comes to your ministry or nonprofit. And that's an uncomfortable thing for many people to do, to sell or to present and to make an ask. But if you connect it to your personal story, not thinking so much about the money part, the sale or the ask, but thinking about your heart and why you do what you do and why your organization does what it does, I think the money many times will follow. Because as my dear friend Albus Brooks once said to me, give me your heart and I'll have your checkbook. That is, my project, my uh, fundraising endeavor will be more successful if I can connect with your heart. And then finally, whatever you do, whatever role you might have in what you do, there will be more meaning in even the daily grind, even the mundane parts of your job. If you can connect what you're currently doing now to the defining moments of your life. And so that's what these video conversations are going to be about. I'll pause here and you can catch me on the next one. I want to remind you that this is a recap of our Leadership Lunch and Learn and our Connection and Convo. So we invite you to consider coming to those live and be part of the live conversation. But here's the summary. So we will give you at our next session how the wheel of life ties in to your personal story and your organizational mission story. Come back because it's going to be awesome. I hope.